Hello, friends. This is Dave Hurwitz, executive editor at ClassicsToday.com, here with a box of music by Spanish composer Joaquin Rodrigo. See, it still says EMI. This is still around. I checked. There seem to be lots of them because this was probably assembled back when Rodrigo was a thing. I mean, his dates were here's his born 1901. He hadn't even passed away when this thing came out. He's gone now. He had a nice long life. And there are two major Rodrigo editions. There's this 4-disc EMI set conducted by Enrique Batíz. And then there's the Naxos set, which runs to 9 CDs, and which is absolutely wonderful, too. They're equivalently terrific. I really wish Naxos would box up their Rodrigo edition and nicely and conveniently and reissue it, because I checked Amazon and pieces of it seem to be available and not available. It's kind of hard to get. I may go through it at some point because I have it all in various places. But I want to talk about this one first. Rodrigo was, a big deal because of the Concerto de Aranjuez. Remember that thing? The guitar with the gorgeous slow movement. Ya-da-da, ya-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. It was very, very beautiful. And all of his concertos are lovely. There are 9 of them here, along with a disc of other orchestral music, some tone poems and other things. And so it's really quite delicious. I'm going to tell you what you get and then turn you loose, because he does not deserve obscurity. He was blind, some of you may know. His music is very elegant and very tuneful and not particularly challenging. Very conservative, actually. But he was the last in the line of great Spanish composers, starting with people like Falla and all those guys. And then we had Halfter and like Spanish people, Albéniz, Granados, Torina, and then there were some modern ones, Monsalvace, who's really also a very good composer, a bunch of others like that, and he was one of them, and he deserves to be listened to if you like Spanish music, which I love, that sounds Spanish, and it does. And you get, let's see, first the Concerto Serenata, which is a harp concerto, and a beautiful harp concerto. I'm a sucker for harp concertos, as you all know. It's with Nancy Allen. And then the Concerto Pastoral, which is a flute concerto with Lisa Hansen. I mean, there aren't so many flute concertos that people can afford to ignore this piece, which is just lovely. And then the Concerto Heroico, it's heroic, with Jorge Federico Osorio, who's now recording for CD. He's been around quite a while, because this was like the 80, 81, 82, 86. This is the mid-80s that this stuff was recorded. And he's the pianist. That's a piano concerto. Then the Concierto Madrigal, which is for a pair of guitars. A lot of these pieces are based on Renaissance and Baroque Spanish music, which gives them a lot of their charm and that somewhat, what's the word? Referential quality, I mean, they're just lovely. Then the Concerto d'Estio for violin. So you got the violin people going too, with Agustin Leon Ara violin. The guitarists are Alfonso Moreno and Deborah Mariotti, in case you're curious. Then we've got Alfonso Moreno doing the Concierto de Aranjuez. Oh, it's so pretty. It really is. It's actually a totally hopeless piece live. You have to amplify the guitar, or else you're not going to hear a note. The balances are just always an issue with that piece. And it's with any guitar concerto, quite frankly, for acoustic guitar. Then we have the Fantasia, para un gentil hombre. Yeah, that's adorable, with Alfonso Moreno guitar. That's one of those, Baroque neoclassical confections. Then the Concierto Andaluz for 4 guitarists. Oh my God. Boy, is that a humming, thumping thing here. And here we've got Alfonso Moreno and Minerva Garibay and Cecilia Lopez and Jesus, or Cecilia, however she wants to pronounce it, and Jesus Ruiz on guitars. And then the cello concerto, the Concerto in Modo Galante with Robert Cohen, and a disc of orchestral pieces. Tone poem, so Per la Flor del Iliri Blau. Yeah, okay. Música para un jardín, the music in a garden. A la busca del más allá, in search of the great beyond. I think that was written for NASA. It was like a NASA commission, which is kind of interesting. Zarabanda lejana y villancico, the distant saraband and villancico. Cinco piezas infantiles, so, five children's pieces. And Soleriana, based on the music of Antonio Soler. It's all really pretty, nicely recorded. It's a wonderful set. It's interesting. I don't see it with a Warner thing. I don't know if it's like technically still in print, but like I said, they probably made millions of them. This should not be hard to source, and it's certainly not hard to listen to. So you know me, I kind of like to explore composers in greater depth. I was never a big fan of the Concierto de Aranjuez. I mean, it's beautiful, it's pretty, it sounds nice. The opening, it's nice. But he wrote a lot more, and a lot more, some of which I think is actually a lot more interesting, such as his concertos for instruments other than guitars, and some of his tone poems and other orchestral pieces. There is more to Rodrigo than meets the eye, and if you get the Naxos edition, then, like I said, there's 5 more discs than you get here. So there's really quite a bit. There are songs with orchestra and all kinds of other things. So he's a composer that's worth looking into if Spanish stuff is your thing. And I just wanted to point that out because he seems to have disappeared. Poof! Not fairly, in my view. So keep on listening, friends. Thanks for joining me. Take care.